Hey, what's going on, sports fans? But back for another episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Always appreciate you for checking out my content. Definitely have fun doing it. Hopefully you enjoyed as well. If you do, you know what you need to do. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, notification bell. You know the whole deal. I don't have to spend too long on that. But if you are new here, appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, hopefully you enjoy the content. But on this episode, I want to talk about Derek Carr. We know that the NFL free agency period is about to get started. The league year is March 15th, I believe. So we might hear about, agreements and all that now. But they can't technically be made official until the 15th when the league year starts. So while everybody's been looking at, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers in terms of the quarterback market, Derek Carr is the first one to find a new home. Last season, the Raiders, basically, at least from the outside looking in, seems like they chose Josh McDaniels over Derek Carr, which led to the Raiders sending Derek Carr home, which obviously led to Derek Carr saying that he's pretty much done with the Raiders. There were teams involved. Heard about the Panthers, heard about the Jets, which feel like the Jets would have been the fallback plan if they don't get their number one guy, which is Aaron Rodgers, of course. But Carr ultimately picked the Saints, who were also involved in that. So now with him with the Saints, he signed reportedly, like I said, can't be made official until the 15th, but it's 4 years, 150 million. I think it's worth up to 150 million. I believe the base is like 100 million, 70 million guaranteed. As all the reports have stated, Derek Carr took a team-friendly deal to try to help out with the Saints cap situation, which is a mess I'll get into shortly. What are the Saints getting with Derek Carr? So Derek Carr, he's a below 500 quarterback. I mean, you could put that towards the Raiders being not that good for a lot of his career there. He's been in the league 9 years, so next season will be his 10th year. 65% completion, it's not bad. I feel like today's metrics want your quarterback to be a little bit closer to 70%, but 65 you can work with. That's still a good quarterback in today's game. Over 35,000 career yards, so he's been productive throughout his career. Only one playoff appearance, which was a loss. You'd like to see that number, I guess, grow with the Saints. But, it's definitely better than what they had. Whether it was Jameis Winston, who was the last couple of years was hurt, although for a little part when he was playing, it looked like he kind of turned the corner, became a more effective starting quarterback. But like I said, he got hurt, hasn't been actually kind of around for a while. Andy Dalton was a good stopgap, I guess, but he's a backup quarterback at this point, even though much of last season he was the starting quarterback. You have Taysom Hill, who's your Swiss Army utility type player. You see him line up at quarterback, running back, fullback, tight end, I don't know, wide out, kick returner, punt returner. He's kind of everywhere, but he's not necessarily a starting quarterback either. Derek Carr, you're getting a bona fide guy. I would say top half, depending on where you rank him. He's definitely a top half quarterback in the league today, I believe. Probably a little bit later we'll talk about where he maybe falls, at least in the NFC, which is more important towards the Saints. But I think the biggest question will be, okay, so they've gotten Derek Carr. Quarterback situation seems like it is solved at this point. But as I also mentioned before, the Saints aren't in the best of salary cap situations. With this Derek Carr move, once again, reportedly not official till the 15th, the Saints would be, I believe it's over 24 million over the cap. The number was actually much higher than that, but they restructured some people, and that's where they are now. So the Saints technically have to move, restructure, find ways to get, I believe it's like 18 million off the 24, because at least by the league year, they have to be under the salary cap to make Carr official. So they have about 10 days to figure that out. Expect to see the Saints in the news a little bit more next coming days to get that number down. So now think about it as everything that we see the Saints do from here on out will be to clear the cap to make Derek Carr fit in salary wise. Question is, how do you do that? Most NFL teams, you restructure veteran players. I mean, you could trade off some guys, outright release some, depending on contract situation. It is possible to release a player, not necessarily get a salary cap relief. So looking at the Saints, where could they possibly get that money from? I mean, Andy Dalton's a free agent. Obviously, he's not coming back because you have your quarterback now. What do they do with Jameis Winston? I believe Winston is still under contract, I believe. But now, does this mean Winston gets traded off? Do they keep Winston as a backup? Would Winston be okay with that? That's a question that would have to be asked. So if we see Winston get moved or cut or something like that, we'll know. But Mark Ingram, he's getting up there, whatever. Jarvis Landry, since he signed with the Saints, I feel like he's been hurt more than he's played. You're fine with that. Marcus Davenport would probably be the first really big situation for the Saints. He's a contributing player on that defensive line. The defense is probably in a better position than the offense, but Davenport's a big part of that. So if Davenport becomes a cap casualty because of their situation, how would Saints fans feel about that? I mean, if any of you out there are Saints fans, definitely let me know down in the comment section for sure. So that's going to be the first big move. What happens with Davenport? I'm assuming, I believe Davenport is a free agent, so he probably cannot be brought back. But then the other big part of this will be Michael Thomas. He restructured his deal a little bit ago to make it a little bit easier on the Saints. At the time, that could have been a move on Thomas's part to probably help facilitate a trade out of New Orleans. But as he stated on his social media, he's happy they signed Derek Carr. So now he might be more enthusiastic in terms of staying. Which, if he is under the new lower cap hit, they'll have to look elsewhere to move some money around. But this is almost a cautionary tale for basically any sports franchise. When you feel like you're close, how much do you dive all in? But then if you don't necessarily get over the hump and win it all, you find yourselves in situations like this a couple of years later, where now you're not good enough to make the playoffs. You're not really a threat in your division. At least they weren't the past couple of years. But you basically need to go through a rebuild. But it's hard to rebuild when you're over the cap. So the Saints have to find their way out of this. I mean, this is what came about with the last few years of Sean Payton, before Sean Payton basically bounced on the whole situation and left football for a little bit, although he's back now with the Broncos. That deal with the Broncos is definitely important for the Saints' future. With a team that's over the cap, and even if they move the pieces to get under the cap to sign Carr to go back over, although they got to move even more than that, because you got to leave cap space for draft picks. Unless you plan on trading all of them for future draft picks to push it down the line, because you can't sign any draft picks, whatever. So, but if they do that, move enough to get under the salary cap line with space for draft picks, it's going to be important for the Saints to hit on these draft picks, especially like your first, second, third, fourth round guys. You basically can't miss on any of those for the next couple of years. Now, fifth, sixth, seventh round, if you find a hidden gemmer or two, you're doing great. But the emphasis on draft picks has to be there. I'm assuming they'll probably, coming out of this draft, they'll probably need a running back. Ingram gone, Kamara's getting up there. He's been used a lot. Would like to see them have a contingency plan for after Kamara. If Michael Thomas were to move, even with Michael Thomas staying, because Jarvis Landry's gone, even though he was a good signing at the time, but it just didn't work out. You got to figure they need wide receiver help. You got to make sure you hit on one of those. Defensively, like I said, the defense was better than the offense, but it wasn't necessarily great, I would say. So they could definitely use some help over there. They are going to have to, they can't really take any luxury picks at this point. You got to draft for need, you got to hit. That way you kind of turn over the cycle of some of these guys. Maybe the contract runs out, the salary cap squeeze becomes a little bit lighter. Now you have contributing guys on rookie deals, which won't eat too much of the cap. And then as players kind of fall off your cap, you make a free agent signing to kind of swap it out and try to do it that way. See how long you necessarily struggle, I would say. Luckily for them, looking at the division, Derek Carr right now is the best quarterback in that division. So you have a leg up on the teams right there. You're looking at Atlanta, Desmond Ridder, give me Derek Carr. The Panthers, who were in on Derek Carr, and I thought would have been an interesting landing spot for him. But you look at Carolina, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, give me Derek Carr. The Bucks, yes, they no longer have Tom Brady, but I guess their quarterback would be Kyle Trask. Give me Derek Carr over him as well. So, best quarterback in the division goes a long way. Although he does need people to throw to, hand off, all that. But it's a good start. Then even looking at the NFC itself, going into last season, actually coming off the Super Bowl and all that, looking at the divide between the AFC and the NFC in terms of quarterbacks, the AFC, I feel like, clearly has the better quarterbacks. Because if you look around the NFC, who are your top tier quarterbacks in the NFC? Jalen Hurts. Depending how you feel about Matt Stafford, if he's healthy. Aaron Rodgers. Although I did do a video not too long ago about the Packers. It looks like they're ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. So let's just say that happens. Now it's Jordan Love. You take Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. That could be an interesting debate. Quickly thinking about it, it's not hard to think that Derek Carr is now at least top 10 in the NFC, probably top 5 quarterback in the NFC. So going into an offseason where it looked kind of doom and gloom for the Saints because of their cap situation, agreeing to a deal with Carr that's team friendly, definitely a plus. He could have went the route of, I guess, going to a higher bidder, possibly, maybe Carolina, like I said. But obviously, the Saints showed more interest in him than the other teams, or, we know that the Jets are in Rodgers' sweepstakes, so I doubt they would have signed Carr before Rodgers made known what his plans were. And if I'm Derek Carr, I'm not waiting around for the Aaron Rodgers thing to shake out. We have no idea how long he's going to hold free agency hostage. So Carr jumped at an opportunity. I respect that. I mean, you guys have to let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you like this move for the Saints and for Carr? Do you think Carr probably should have gone somewhere else? Let me know down in the comment section as well. I like the move. I I felt like Carr to either the Panthers or the Saints made the most sense to me. I mean, he could have waited around to probably get the Jets job if Rodgers didn't go there, but that's a long time to wait. But I did also see his former team, the Raiders, possibly are in on Jimmy Garoppolo, but we'll have to see where that goes before I really talk about that. But Derek Carr and the Saints, I feel like it's a good match. So let's see what the Saints do though to, I guess, clear the necessary cap space to make it official. But I think this is probably the first move to what I feel like will be a busy offseason in the NFL. We'll just say busy free agency period. There's really no offseason in the NFL, to be honest with you. It's a free agency period, which I think is going to be very interesting and active. I will definitely be here to, I guess, bring you my opinion on the bigger moves. Obviously, I'm not going to cover every move of free agency, but the bigger moves that get my attention, I'll definitely be here for you guys. So thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully, you enjoyed the episode. Oh, before I get out of here, make sure you check me out, Sports Empire Network, tonight, 7 p.m., Cheap Seats Podcast. We have another great slate of barbershop sports topics. And as we always say, you tune into the show, you can give your opinion on our topics. Also, you can leave a topic in the chat. We will definitely, pull at least one good one from the chat that debated on the show as well. So make sure you tune in for that. But thanks again. Be safe out there. God bless. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next episode. All right. I'll see you.